Good morning, respected ones. I'm back with another question paper discussion. And this time, before me is the question paper for the Kannur University first semester examination of the paper Contemporary Indian Education during the year 2016. There is raining outside and maybe there is some noise. I'm sorry, this is a natural noise and you can consider it as a music, a background music with our question paper discussion. The first question of this question paper is, what do you mean by deschooling? Deschooling is a movement occurred all over the world in the recent times, which states that children should be withdrawn from traditional formal schooling systems because they are not providing any opportunity for enhancing the creativity of the children and they are not providing any practical knowledge. This movement was propagated by people like Ivan Illich all over the world. List the 4 pillars of education. These are the 4 pillars of education according to UNESCO. 1. Learning to know. 2. Learning to do. 3. Learning to be. 4. Learning to live together. Write any 2 major functions of SSA. SSA has got lots of functions. These are the 2 major functions of SSA. 1. Ensuring that all the children between 6 and 14 will have acquired elementary education by 2010. Second function, special measures will be taken for providing education to girl children who belong to economically and socially backward communities who are living at educationally backward areas. Question number 4. What do you know about issue-based pedagogy? Issue-based pedagogy is a pedagogy introduced in the modern times, getting influenced by the concept of critical pedagogy put forth by Paulo Freire. In this pedagogy, teachers are presenting the contemporary issues before the students and students are requested to think about the problems in a critical manner so that to suggest some solutions for such problems. This pedagogy is intended for enhancing the critical thinking in students. Expand the following. RUSA, Rashtriya Uchchadar Shiksha Abhiyan. RUSA, Rashtriya Uchchadar Shiksha Abhiyan. NCERT, National Council of Educational Research and Training. National Council of Educational Research and Training. I may give you some more expansions of some abbreviations or acronyms which may come as questions in the examination. SCRT, State Council of Educational Research and Training. SCRT, State Council of Educational Research and Training. NCTE, National Council of Teacher Education. UGC, University Grants Commission. This right? CANFOD, Kerala Association for Non-Formal Education and Development. NCF, National Curriculum Framework. UNCRC, United Nations Convention for Rights of the Child. UNICEF, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund or United Nations Children's Fund. UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Now the sixth question is, what is cultural pluralism? Cultural pluralism is the state of society where minority groups are enjoying their rights without getting violated by the majority groups, and majority groups accept some elements of the culture of the minorities. So these 2 points you should mention. First one, minorities are enjoying their rights, majorities are accepting the cultural elements of the minorities. India is an example. So you can just write this one. This is for 2 marks. You can just write cultural pluralism is the state of society where minority groups are enjoying their rights without getting violated by the majority groups, and the majority groups accept some elements of the culture of the minorities. Question number 7. What do you mean by universalization of education? Universalization of education, or UE, is a concept put forth by Indian Constitution. According to universalization of education, education should be provided to each child between 6 and 14 years, free and compulsory. Or universalization of education means providing free and compulsory education to all the children between 6 and 14 years, so that to ensure that education, so that to ensure that the concept of education for all is realized. And this should be regardless to the religious difference, caste difference, economic difference, and any other difference in the society. Suggest any 2 strategies for developing traditional values among students. Before answering this question, you should know what are traditional values. What traditional values are. The traditional values in India are honesty, simplicity, tolerance, and non-violence. So these are the 2 strategies which you can use for cultivating traditional values among students. 1. Teaching the stories of kings and great people who were honest in their life at any circumstance. Second one, the teachers should lead some simple life which can be a model for the students to lead simplicity in their life. What is meant by 3 language formula? Three-language formula is a formula introduced by Mudaliar Commission in India and later modified by Kothari Commission. According to Mudaliar Commission, all the children should learn mother tongue, Hindi and English by the time they complete their elementary education. This is modified by Kothari Commission telling that children who belong to non-Hindi speaking states should learn their mother tongue, Hindi and English, and children who belong to Hindi speaking states should learn Hindi as their mother tongue and English and any other modern Indian language. Question number 10. What do you mean by Upanayana? Upanayana is the initial ceremony organized for starting education during the Vedic period. When a Brahmin child becomes 8 years old, a Kshatriya child becomes 11 years old, and a Vaishya child becomes 12 years old, Upanayana ceremony was held for giving them education or starting education. The child takes bath, wears saffron clothes, comes to the teacher, sits before him, and recites Saraswati mantra when the teacher, after the teacher recites it. Now comes the paragraph questions. Explain the role of religion in bringing about educational development. Religion can play a vital role in bringing educational development. If you look at history, you can see that religion played a vital role in the educational development. During the Vedic period, actually, education was given in religious institutions such as Gurukula. Gurukula systems were some educational institutions where students were given religious education as well as material education or secular education. During the Buddhist period also, education was given in Buddha Viharas. And during the Islamic period, educations were given in some institutions related to religious centers. Though Vedic period, Buddhist period, and Islamic period were some eras which gave more importance to religious principles, they played a vital role in the development of the vast educational system which is prevailing now in India. No one can deny that fact. And even during the British period, religious people, religious and religious leaders played a vital role in the spreading of modern education among Indians. And nowadays, in our country, by following the Article 13, lots of religious communities, religious organizations are running their own educational institutions so that to attract people who belong to their communities as well as other communities towards educational institutions. Moreover, if you have to realize the concept of education for all, you should be able to bring students or children who belong to different communities to schools. This is not an easy task. Religious leaders or priests can give advice to the parents of the children at religious institutions. In India, people are giving ear more to religious leaders than to political leaders or educationists. So you can make use of religious leaders to inspire and motivate the parents of the children to send their children to schools. Similarly, in India, especially in Kerala, you can see different religious organizations are giving scholarships for children to get education. They also provide awards and prizes for those students who are achieving something in the academic life. And this will be a motivational factor for other children to come forward to get better education. Similarly, religious communities are providing training and coaching classes for the members of the religion, the particular religion, to attend competitive examinations such as BSc examination, then IAS examination, and medical and engineer examination, so and so. So religion had played, religion played, plays, and can play in future too in the development of education in our country. Explain the educational planning in India. Education needs a systematic planning and organization. In India, there are 3 lists for defining the power of central government and state governments. The first list includes the items which come under the jurisdiction of the central government. The second list includes the items which come under the power of state governments. The third list is known as concurrent list, which covers the items come under the combined power of central government and state governments. Education at first was included in the second list, that is the list which comes, the list which consists of the items which are under the power of state governments. But in 1976, there was an amendment in the Constitution, and education was included in the concurrent list. In 1986, the national policy, the new policy on education, declared that there would be some collaborative effort by the central government and state governments for the development of education. And there are 2 different bodies, national bodies, called Planning Commission and Finance Commission. Planning Commission is not there now. It was changed into Niti Aayog. Planning Commission performs the duty of providing funds for building new schools, purchasing new items, and so and so. Finance Commission is performing the duty of maintenance works. For example, adding more classrooms in an already built school, repairing, providing fund for repairing the items which have already been purchased, etc. And see, national government or central government often declares that they were going to give permission to start IITs, NITs, and such technical institutions in India. When the declaration comes, state governments can submit a proposal to Planning Commission or to Niti Aayog nowadays, and the Planning Commission or the authority will go through the proposal and they will allow or they will provide or they will issue the right to start the NIT or IIT to a state on the basis of the verification of the proposal and by looking whether it has already got an NIT or IIT or not. So this is the procedure. So Planning Commission is there and Finance Commission is there. So nowadays, education is organized collaboratively in India. And see, the central government declares or would declare a national policy, and all the states are expected to, and on the basis of that national policy, there would be a national curriculum framework, NCF. And all the states are expected to follow the directions, guidelines, and instructions of that curriculum framework by making some modifications on the basis of the socio-cultural specifications of different states. They can make some modifications, but they cannot violate the basic principles of the national curriculum framework. So this is what is happening nowadays in India in the case of educational planning. Then next paragraph question is briefly explain the role of NGOs in equalizing educational opportunities. This question is something similar to the role of religion in bringing about educational development. NGOs or non-governmental organizations are some organizations working out of government jurisdiction, but as registered societies. There are lots of non-governmental organizations in India. There are students' organizations, teacher organizations, citizens' forums, clubs, and religious organizations. We have already seen that there was a huge gap between some sections of the society and some other sections of the society in the case of education when we got independence. Still, that gap is there. And for removing this gap or for reducing this gap and making the marginalized communities to the mainstream of the society and education, Indian Constitution as well as different governments during different eras have declared so many privileges and programs as a part of positive discrimination policy. But still, the children of such communities are not ready to come to get education because of lack of confidence and because of ignorance. So non-governmental organizations can organize awareness programs among such communities to make them know about the importance of education in the modern world. Similarly, non-governmental organizations should find out educationally backward areas and they should concentrate on such areas by organizing special programs, demonstration classes, seminars, and workshops to make the parents of the children who are residing there aware of the importance of school education. At times, parents are not ready to send their children to schools just because of poverty. Then non-governmental organizations can offer financial aid, or such organizations can offer some employment to the parents of such children. Similarly, because of some social evils too, students may not come to schools. Non-governmental organizations can organize programs against such social evils, and they can fight for eradicating such social evils so that to make the children who belong to such communities as also come to the educational institutions. Such organizations can provide scholarships for meritorious students, prizes and awards for some students who are achieving something in their academic life, training classes for attending competitive examinations such as BSc examination, SET examination, CAT examination, IAS examination, and medical entrance. So non-governmental organizations can do lots of things for equalizing the educational opportunities in our country. So I may just stop here and come back with the remaining paragraphs included in this question paper because I have got some technical errors. So as you see, there is some delay in the video. Sometimes there is a delay between the video and the audio, my lip movements. Sometimes it may create problems for you when you are watching the video. So I will come back by discussing the remaining paragraphs of this question paper. There are still 7 more paragraph questions in this question paper. Till then, thank you. Thank you very much.